Hey guys, Dissolution Magic here, and I don't normally report on random things said by random people on Twitter with no cited source, but this looks like a reasonably accurate Discord screenshot, and it makes sense logically. So just, grain of salt, this might not be true. I can't immediately disprove it, like it took me 15 whole seconds to disprove the Innistrad by Moonlight bullshit that's going around on Twitter. Totally fake, 1,000,000% fake. I mean, in fact, there's so many errors made with it. I don't think they were trying to fool like a 15-year experienced Photoshop expert. I think they were just trying to fool you guys. But anyway, back to this topic. Like the title says, yeah, Channel Fireball Events is just gone. They are basically a separate company from CFB, I guess. Probably not like functionally, but I guess from like LLC registration and like tax reasons. Whatever, I'm not going to get into American corporate registration structure. But yeah, the announcement is just simply CFB Events will be dissolved this year. That's, of course, Channel Fireball Events. They are the only ones left holding official, like, DCI-sanctioned, I guess, PTs and GPs. Now, there used to be a second company doing them, and they dropped out, 2-3 years ago. And now they just hold their own tournaments. They don't care. They're just like, whatever. We're going to keep holding, like, the exact same events, just not for Wizards, I guess. And not like the official Pro League. The funny thing is I heard they get more viewers on average on like live streams. They might be botting them. I mean, Wizards bots too. So it's like measuring cheating apples to cheating apples. At this point, I actually might be the record holder for the most concurrent live stream, verified viewers watching a Magic event. Speaking of that, now that I quit my other shitty job, I am going to be live streaming for all you European and Asian viewers at an appropriate time for you guys. Not sure exactly when, probably around evening your time, instead of, 10 o'clock my time, which doesn't really work for you guys. So watch for that and at least temporarily turn on notifications if you don't want to miss it. Oh, and obviously subscribe or it won't work. So yeah, Wizards is in trouble now because the last remaining company holding official events and the paper events and making sure that, the competitive pro Magic system exists, they're out. They're not just out, which is what they were threatening like a year or two ago when they were pissed off at what Wizards was doing, and they were pissed off that they couldn't make any money or were losing money at every event. And we're basically like saying, hey, Wizards, can you subsidize this since it's your thing and we're doing it for you and we're like losing money every event, or at least it's not, worthwhile to run some of them. And I guess, I don't know about the chronology of this, but Wizards' reply was to pull all the camera rental equipment and coverage staff. So I guess the answer is no, we're going to spend less on the tournaments. Screw you. I might just suspect that those actions had something to do with this decision. So they're not just like out and then they're going to hold their own events. They're gone. They're not holding any events at all. I mean, unless they want to do some online thing. That's why I find it odd that they're saying CFB events. Like, they might have put LLC at the end of that, is being dissolved. Hold some cheap ass live stream things that cost basically nothing to set up. How about that? Like, why get rid of the entity? That's why I kind of doubt this a little bit, but with the whole COVID-19 thing going on and, vendors not refunding deposits, or vendors, venues, I should say, more specifically venues that they were renting. I mean, it could be like 50 to 100 grand to rent one of these with like 10,000 down, at least. So nicer venues will refund the deposit, try and seek some, government funds and, whatever. They just take the bullet and, file for bankruptcy or whatever. For the record, contractually, none of them have to. I guarantee every one of their terms say that. The deposit is the deposit. It is non-refundable. It doesn't matter if the damn building burns down. So now, even if CFB were to be allowed, we'll say in November, to run a tournament, because in whatever state it is, they're allowing, however many thousands of people to go group together or whatever. Even if that were the case, I think CFB would be smart enough to say, well, okay, 1/4 of the people tops are going to show up. Everybody goes to like Comic-Con and like, CES or whatever, all these big conventions, all these big pro tours, all these big, anime conventions, and they come home sick. Okay, that's like a given. Except every year it's the cold or flu. Like, ask anybody. Anybody who goes anywhere. Like, Linus Tech Tips, their whole damn staff comes back with the damn flu. You have people travel like individually or in small groups from all around the country and the world to one place, breathe in each other's faces, then leave. Everybody's catching something, okay? Now we've got the hyper-contagious COVID-19. Considering pretty much everybody hates these stupid tournaments and events because they're so poorly run, the prizes are stripped down because, it's not really CFB's fault. They're forced to. They just can't have that surprise support, and they're cutting the number of artists who show up and all that. The events are getting worse, and then if you go to any side event, you're going to get cheated. Cheating is running rampant at those tournaments. Then in the regular full, main tournaments, you get to go up against a bunch of cheating pros who cheat the first couple rounds and hope they don't get caught, or just cheat on camera because that's how they keep winning. Or Wizards cheats for them by giving them free buys. Either way, it is not worth your money. If you live across the street from the venue, it's not worth your money, let alone if you pay for a plane ticket in a hotel. Magicfests are like the dumbest thing you can go to in a year, and a lot of people are coming around to the rest of us, that are in the know on this, our knowledge of this. Oh, I just caught a shiny Bronzor in Pokemon Go. Suck it, haters. And I know a lot of people who play Magic are like 15 to 40. I know an enormous amount of older people who play it, but I mean, the game's only been out for 25 years, so if somebody started playing when they were like 20 then, they're still not very old. Like I said, that said, I know a ton of 60-plus people who play the game. It's just the minority by far. So a lot of people are looking at the numbers, they're like, if I caught this, I probably honestly wouldn't even develop symptoms at all. And, they would, they're sitting at home anyway, or they're going to work by law, and they don't work with 70-year-olds who have emphysema or whatever. So they're just like blowing off the whole virus like whatever, and there's a little bit of math to, support that. It's just, would I risk it when I personally know some 30-year-olds who caught it and had severe complications? They don't have diabetes, they aren't fat, they don't have cancer, none of that. They were perfectly healthy. Well, FYI, the prevailing theory right now is that it's about exposure volume. If you're exposed to somebody in line at Walmart for 3 minutes, whatever, you ain't gonna catch nothing. That's not enough to replicate, because it looks like, all things considered, all facts, all evidence, everything coming up to this point, this is a pathetic virus that has tons of trouble spreading in the human body because it jumped from another animal to humans. It's not designed or evolved for humans. So it has trouble replicating, it has trouble with certain, genetic stuff, certain types of cells, all that. It's a barely functional virus. Thus, the long incubation times and the fact that it barely affects anybody who doesn't have a severe issue health-wise. But if it's a really shitty, weak, pathetic virus that has trouble replicating and you get an enormous dose of it point blank for like 8 hours straight, that's how like 35-year-old doctors who know how to take care of themselves if they're infected, take time off properly, get sleep, and drink lots of water and improve their diet and everything, still die from it. Because they were exposed in such a high dose that it just has a starting point, a starting number that's so bad, they're in deep shit. So, if 50 infected people go to a tournament with, 3,000 people at it and are breathing, constantly walking around, breathing harder than normal than if they were sitting still, and they're moving, so they're putting virus cells into the air nonstop, you could be exposed to it for 12 hours straight. And that would, in theory, potentially be the 20 to 30-year-old killer dose. So with that said, do you think it's worth risking going to this tournament when there's no benefit? It's like, I might have some fun, cool, and it's going to cost me a couple $100. Or I could stay safe, stay at home, and spend the money on anything else, like other Magic products, or anything. Literally anything. I wonder what most people are going to choose. So they know, like I said, even if they were allowed to hold a GP, like even in 2021, nobody is showing up. And the attendance numbers is what were killing them, because it was number of ticket sales, volume that people spend and sell also at the vendors to make it worthwhile renting the booth. They had to slash those prices. If you can't sell enough tickets, you can't cover the expenses, and the expenses are very flat. They've done the best they can to slash them, but it is what it is, and they would lose their asses if they tried to really hold an event probably in the next 2 years. That said, there's a vaccine that's in, heavy late-stage testing right now, so, who knows. I'm not sure what the production capabilities look like, but let's just say governments are willing to drop, billions with an S on medical licensing if they're going to be dicks and not open source it. And because of that, the first one to patent a working vaccine is going to be richer than holy shit. There's some money being dumped into it. There's some private investments going hey, if we throw money at this, could you be the first? And they're like, maybe. Okay, here, have my bank account information. Frickin' U-Haul truck full of bills showing up at that place. But the thing is, they can't wait for that. They can't have a slow ramp up. If they were to hold an event and be allowed to resume after they've sort of lost money, by not operating, but really lost money on the deposits. That's the killer. They would need the first one they hold to be huge. I've been waiting for this. Finally we can go back to it. And it would be the opposite. And they know this. So that's my theory on why they're shutting down. I think they got some moderately intelligent, experienced people running these events that are nah, the numbers don't look good. We can't do this. So they're just bye. So, who's left to hold these tournaments? Well, Wizards themselves, which I'd love to see that, the way they mishandle everything. I mean, I can't, I was going to give some examples. Everything: marketing, PR, customer relations, corporate image, testing, quality control, their HR department. Everything at their company is a disaster. They literally cannot do anything right. So if you take that shitstorm and the whole, I'm going to hire the person with the funniest colored hair instead of this person with 20 years experience hosting events, that would be a bad event. It would be poorly run is the understatement of the century. Then if they're just like, okay, private entities, mega stores, we'll let them run, one. If they've run like a private tournament with like 500,000 people, maybe they'd be interested in expanding, and we'll just, give them the honor of it being an official Pro Tour, an official Magicfest GP, whatever. It would be so different. The sign-up thing would be different every time. The communication method would be different because it'd be a different company every time. That would be like really confusing and annoying, which is pretty much how the CFB events were run. Nobody knew when to show up, when to sign in, when to deck check. Like wow. Other than that, I can't think of another entity that could do it except for the other company that used to run GPs. I don't want to mention them. I hate them. I don't want to give them any additional marketing or a shout out in any way. Their judges are mostly, we'll say, activists for certain groups and political leanings and skin colors and genders and orientations, and that's how they make their judging decisions. I have dozens of examples. Dozens. So, I mean, screw them. They're a little bit too, crooked and psychotically left and run like shit than even Wizard standards. So there is absolutely nobody left. They'd have to pay a contractor to put it on, which is usually what you do for a one-time thing. You just get an event planning company. Some venues even say, hey, we can, plan the whole thing for you. And our venue staff who knows what they're doing and know the venue can put it on for you. I have a feeling that's what they'll do. But they'll have to front the money. Now, if they weren't willing to shovel over, $100,000 to CFB to have them do it when they're putting up, the prize money. I mean, Wizards is here, ooh, $1 million giveaway, woo, that's their thing, but they can't make it a $750,000 giveaway and give $250,000 to CFB to make sure the event isn't shit. Make sure that they can keep, having enough money to operate. Then I don't think that they're willing to do it themselves and just take a loss on it, where they're like, oh, we're going to make $100,000 on tickets and it's going to cost us $200,000 to run the event. Oh, well, we need there to be magic paper play. I don't think they're willing to do that. So I think we aren't going to see organized play in paper, I hate to say ever again, but for a while, I don't think they can get their shit together even in 2021, even if they scramble. So I think we're going to have over a year or year and a half of just nothing. Now, I say nothing. We already know from leaked information that they are going to hold them digitally. Standard is going to be on Arena. Everything else is going to be on MTGO. They're just going to live stream it, and they're just going to call that the Pro Tour or whatever. Well, that is a lot cheaper. I mean, they aren't selling any tickets, so it's not that much cheaper. It's probably still a loss, but if they just write the whole thing off, strategically and interpretation-wise as a marketing expense for the game, I think they could justify it. I mean, the streaming stuff ain't that hard, and organizing the tournament ain't that hard. I mean, even the marketing and advertising for it probably exceeds the operational costs. So it'll be real interesting if this turns out to be 100% true, and it doesn't turn around or anything, Wizards doesn't step in and do anything, how this ends up getting handled. What the future of competitive play looks like. I have a feeling it will be very digital for the very foreseeable future. By the way, if it sounds like I have a very unnatural amount of knowledge about large event planning, yes, I do. I have a lot of years' experience in large event planning. Operations, food, PA, sound, staffing, security, that's my shit. So what the hell, Wizards? Let me run it. Just put me in charge. I'll run you a good-ass Magicfest. Anybody spouting off liberal SJW propaganda bullshit will be pepper sprayed and tased on site, but other than that, it'll be a wonderful tournament. Very professionally run event. It'll have a petting zoo. We're going to put just full art prints of memes on the walls. Oh, and we're renaming it Desolator Magicfest. So that's the good/bad/interesting/indifferent news, depending upon your viewpoint, for today. Hopefully this doesn't all turn out to be a fake, but, like I said, it's very believable. Holding giant events ain't a good place to be in right now. Trust me, it really, really isn't. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.